Hello everyone and welcome to Alpha X. Once again, my name is BeoMulf and this is the grand finals of the ESL Open Cup number 56, CLEM versus SHOWTIME. Demauer versus the Little Corporal in a grand final situation. It's gonna be juicy, but up here in the upper left, in the red of course, representing Brazil International Gaming, also known as BIG, he is SHOWTIME. And his opponent in the bottom right, in the blue, the Little Corporal from Team Liquid, he is CLEM. The question now is how these players decide to open up this game. Number one, how did they decide to open up this series? CLEM known for some incredibly aggressive openings, but mostly off of two bases, off of three bases, of leaning into his opponent with his aggressive play, but not necessarily killing him with, not necessarily going for one base, not going for all ins, just dropping on the left, dropping on the right, dropping the left and right, doing what he can to just lean into his opponent. Now, of course, we're going to have to see exactly whether he makes use of that, whether he just goes play as a later game, whether he goes for that kind of 5 barracks before third command center play that we've seen at some point. Or whether he goes for a quick third base. There's a build that Bjorn has been doing rather recently that is one Marine into a reactor. Into, and that's, well, that's part of what's happening here, is we do not have any Reapers on the map. Of course, it's just a single Marine opener into a rather quick third command center. Now, if this is, if CLEM does it, I don't think this is necessarily the map you do it on, because of course this is a shorter map. It is a it's harder to defend your base on it, so maybe you want to go and say my best defense is a good offense. I'm going to be aggressive here once I hold off the assumed Blinkstalker aggression that I assume SHOWTIME is going to go for, and that's when I expand. But interestingly, of course, SHOWTIME, he did get a shield battery in the mineral line, so he could be more aggressive with these adepts. But you also got to remember, CLEM has not built a Reaper this game, so the addition of that shield battery was not necessary. It's not the adept, excuse me, will find its way on in here, and it will delay the command center for just a little bit of time. And now the adept gets into the main base here, and it will not delay the factory, but we'll get a second SCV. And already 2 SCVs for an adept, maybe even a third. Oh, unfortunately for it. Oh, well, you know what? Yeah, there we go. 3 SCVs for an adept. Yeah, that is worthwhile. But look at this. Look at this. We do have Reapers on the way. One has already been built. We have a second one on the way here. So I think we're going to see something analogous to the TVT 3 Hellion 2 Reaper pressure, where in this case the Reapers, their job is going to be to bump the Stalker out of the wall so they can run on by and get something done. There we go. 2 Reapers, 1 Hellion. More and more Hellions are on the way. But yeah, CLEM, he's just going to try to run on by, maybe see if he can get some worker damage done once the wall has been dislodged. Now, granted, if SHOWTIME catches wind of this, he's just going to finish the wall up. That being said, though, nice move from CLEM, able to knock off the already injured probe from the delay earlier on. And of course, we do have Blink on the way, and it is looks like it is 2-gate Blink for Demauer, so he's going to look to take a quick third base and just be as defensive as possible. There we go. We already have RoboBay on the way, and this is exactly what you would expect of a player known as the Wall of Europe. All right, so with all the Stalkers here, they're going to get the Reaper, but there is still a second. But with 3 Stalkers here, with more on the way, I don't really like the chances of this. Okay, actually, you know what? Never mind. We have a Durp coming on up into the main base, and I really like this now because the whole goal here is not even to get damage done, although that's going to be nice. The goal, oh wait, never mind. Look at this. This drop is just going to drop on top of these Stalkers, and the goal here is just to assassinate the Stalkers. There's no shield batteries in the natural, and now CLEM, he has 6 Marines, he has 3 Hellions, and a Reaper, and one of these Stalkers will go down immediately. It looks like most of the probes have been pulled out as appropriately, but the Stalkers, all the weapons are being forced at home, and now we see a bunch of workers go down. 2, 3, 4. We're going to see more go down here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so many workers going down here. What a masterful move here from Clem in one of his patented kitchen sink assaults. Oh man, he's gonna get 9 probes out of that. And now the worker, oh man. And he gets the observer too, which means it's gonna be that much more difficult for Clem or for Showtime to get on up into the high ground. And this is something that Clem just does, and he does it really well, where he's like, okay, I have 5 Marines, and I have 2 Hellions, and I have a Reaper, and, you know, I got all this random stuff. I'm going to move across the map with it, and I'm going to kill you with it. At the very least, I'm going to do some significant damage to you because of it. Oh, man, this is pretty cool. So Clem realizing that maybe he's going to be in a bit of dire straits here because of all this, because he did trade away a good portion of his army for all the damage he did. He has a Banshee on the way. Banshees, of course, trade pretty well with Stalkers until they are revealed, but with the Raven here, the Observers are not going to really be all that useful. And there's actually not necessarily Observers on this side of the map quite yet. It looks like there's another one coming on over, but for the moment, not there yet. Although it looks like Clem, no, he's just going to be aggressive with this. But look at this, Showtime posturing with a Disruptor right outside the main base of Clem. So it looks like we will have a drop coming on into the main base. Charges on the way, of course. But I guess the whole goal of this Disruptor is to try to kill off the tank. But look at how aggressive Clem is being with these Marines. He's microing them forward, so maybe he can get some shots off on the Stalkers after they blink backwards. He will not be successful, but I like the idea. And is Clem aware? I don't think Clem is aware of this Disruptor. Now he is. We have 2 more additional barracks on the way. And yeah, the Disruptor is going to get 1 Marine. No big deal. Meanwhile, the Banshee's actually getting some nice damage done. 2 workers have gone down. 3, we're going to see more and more workers start going down here. And all the probes were pulled, but now they've been pulled back into the mineral line. There is no defense here whatsoever. All the Stalkers are on the front-hand side of the map. Where even are they? They were recalled now, but it's only 3 Stalkers. Honestly, if there was Cloak, which there isn't, if there was Cloak, the Banshee would just be able to kill that off. But the Banshee gets 11 probe kills. It can get more, but of course with the Stalkers here, it's going to have to wait a little bit. But this is what we got to look at on the other side here. DT's on into the main base. Clem is going to have to be forced to... He will be forced to pull all the SCVs from that base. 7 workers have gone down, but look at this. There is a Raven, which means that the DTs are... Well, they're not going to... Okay, never mind. I was going to say they're not all that going to be all that impactful, but they will... At the end of the day, they will get something done. 7 workers go down, as well as a decent amount of armies. DT's going to run on in once again, and Clem, he's on top of this. Looks like the Banshee went away on the other side of the map, though. Anyway, Clem, 1-1 on the way. He has Stim, he has Combat Seals, no concussive shells yet. But he's going to have a really powerful army in about a minute's time, 45 seconds time. The question, though, is whether Showtime wants to let him do that. There are 4 Disruptors on the map, and that is kind of terrifying, to be totally honest. The army supplies, yes, Clem is at an army supply lead, but if Clem can get or if Showtime can get the shots he's looking for, Clem, he's not paying attention. Clem, oh no, those Disruptor shots are going to be so disastrous. Although the last one will get targeted down, so not the best. But look at this, Clem. He had a 7-8 army supply lead. Now he's down 10. That's what Disruptors do. It's bowling balls, but the bowling balls follow the pins at this point. So that's a little bit scary as now we have Showtime. We're going to try to get a drop on into the main base. Looks like, once again, Clem took some Disruptor shots to the face, but oh, the Widow Mine. It's going to do such a good job. It's going to do a significant amount of damage to this Warp Prism. Now, of course, Clem's Rally is going to try to knock this out, but there are a lot of Widow Mines, and look at that. We saw one of the Zealots ran on into the mineral line to soften up all of these SCVs, which means the DTs, the Zealots, will get more damage done. Oh, I guess... Oh yeah, the DTs, because DTs never require 2 shots to kill an SCV until they get +1 of their own. Oh, the Disruptors, though, they're not here. So now Clemmy's going to stim on top of them and now be forced to pick up here because, well, he can only kill so many before things go down. Tank firing from the high ground, and that actually looks like it should be enough to defend here. DTs are added to the main army. Disruptor shots are going to go on off. Once again, nice splitting from Clem means he's not going to take any damage here, and we're going to see a sentry get targeted down, which means less battlefield control for the German Protoss. It means he will not be able to build walls that the Zealots run on up against and get those powerful impacts. Now, Demauer, he's getting aggressive once again. I don't know how much I like it, though. Nice splits there with the against the Widow Mines. But look at this. The disruptors are the thing that is important here. The tank's going to go down. Third base now under fire here for Clem, and he does have to do something to deal with this. Now, the sentries that are there, they've had a damn good force field. 8 workers are going down, but of course the drop in the main base is the powerful thing. DTs are getting warped in, but the scan is there. The DTs will not do anything yet. Disruptor will get targeted down. Disruptor not getting a shot up, and this double drop from Clem is so powerful. Meanwhile, Clem on the other side of the map, Disruptors are getting targeted down. Archons are doing what they can, though, but with the Widow Mines here, the Archons actually will take no damage from the Widow Mines, and Showtime dominant. He will be forced back for the moment, but his army is still powerful. It is still strong, but at the end of the day, Clem has taken such incredible trades. He's killed 2 workers, sure, but he is up 50 army supply. These 1-1 upgrades, but that his opponent does not have, is causing so much havoc. And yes, the Stalkers will blink on top of this forward, doing what they can to kill off these medevacs, but it doesn't matter. Not at the end of the day. 70, 80 army supply to 35. Clem taking the good fight at home, taking the good fight abroad. He has played this game masterfully. A 4th base now on the way. His +2 attack, halfway done. +2 armor, maybe not quite as close. But he has not taken all that significant economic damage. Well, 23, but so has his opponent. And Showtime has not taken the trades that Clem has. Meanwhile, Widowmine looks like a run-by, actually. No, okay, that was a drop. On into the 3rd base. 6 workers do go down. Well, that's unfortunate for that DT. That's not an interaction you see all that often, but really easy defense, so that's going to be nice for Clem here. Now, the army supply differential has narrowed just a little bit, and now Showtime does have Colossus on the field, which are a little bit scary. 1-1 is done soon. So if Showtime can weather this storm, he's maybe going to be okay, but of course his opponent has 4 bases, he has 3. And now there's a massive drop coming on up into the main base that Showtime does not appear to be prepared for in the slightest. There we go. Chargeloss going to run on in, but Clem, I would just stem on top of this. There we go. He's going to stem on top of the Colossus. Colossus is going to go down here. There's not a whole lot left here for the Protoss player. Archons are all that remain, and GG Clem. He's going to take game number 1 of this best of 5 ESL Open Cup number 56 Grand Finals. What a game there from Clem. What a game indeed. Clem just doing damage at home. Doing damage abroad, taking no damage at home. And at the end of the day, just forging these massive, massive income disparities, these massive army supply leads that led to a resounding victory in a really exciting game number 1. Now we got game number 2. Will be on Death Aura. Of course, a marginally bigger map. Actually, a fairly significantly bigger map, and a very defensive one. It is... You almost get 4 bases for free on this map, no matter what race you play. So, we're going to have to see whether Showtime and Clem play into that, or they play against that. The idea that because you can get the bases for free, your opponent's not going to be aggressive. Or your opponent wouldn't expect you to be aggressive. Therefore, you should be aggressive because you're playing against the meta of the map. Now, I don't know if that's what we're going to see. Probably not. But that is an opportunity. That is an option. That is something that these players can maybe take advantage of. Who knows? I certainly don't. I do know that we're just about loaded on in to our 2nd game in this series. And I am wonderfully excited. Let's get into things. Here we are, spawning in the upper left. In the red, he is representing Big Esports, down 1-0 in this best of 5. From Germany, he's Showtime. And his opponent in the bottom right, in the blue, for Team Liquid, give it up for Clem. So I guess the first thing we're looking at here, Clem went for a Marine expand in game number 1, and that allowed him to get into his tech a little bit faster, but on the flip side, a little bit less scouting. He ended up getting the Reapers anyways, which was really interesting. But here the question is, do we see that Reaper expand, or that kind of delayed Reaper thing once again, or is Clem going to go for a more traditional Reaper expand? No, he will not. There we go, Marine on the way. And this, of course, does provide room for Clem to once again, or for the first time, go for that Beyond build we were talking about, where you get that that 230 command center, and you add 2 additional barracks on top of it. It's a really aggressive opener, but it also has a really nice macro upside. It's not something we see everyone do, certainly, but it's something that Beyond has been playing a lot of, and Clem does take some pointers, does take some builds from some of the more aggressive Terran players, like Beyond. Meanwhile, I guess the only minor difference that I expect to see in this game, yeah, Showtime already showing it, there is, of course, no shield battery in the mineral line, even as the Adepts are getting ready to move across the map. So it simply makes sense, right? Clem did not go for that in game number 1, and he has already shown that he's not really going for a Reaper in game number 2. That being said, though, so we are seeing, this is so weird. I don't know, I feel like the longer a Reaper goes in the game, the less effective it is. So it's really interesting that we see these Terran players now, and actually with Bjorn's build, he gets reacted Reapers. But anyways, it's interesting that we see these Reapers coming on in that go, and you get Reapers as your like 4th or 5th unit out of your barracks, so 3rd unit out of your barracks, something like that, which is really non-standard. Now we have the Reaper coming on. Reaper here with the Marines should be able to push this, force the Adept back. Don't want to lose the Reaper though. No, we'll get targeted down. Okay. And now we have Oracle Tech on the way here for Showtime. I do like this. Will maybe allow him to scout what Clem is going for a little bit better, see where Clem's army is on the map more consistently, more persistently. But now the Adepts will find their way on into the mineral line, doing what they can to kill off SCVs, and I think they got 1. No, they didn't. Okay. So they got the 1 earlier, but all they got was a Marine. And look at the Hellion. Actually, the Hellion can fight this pretty easily, especially with the Marines coming on up. And look, there's another... Actually, okay, this is pretty cool. And you might say, hey, Beo, why is Showtime trading away so much for Marines? I mean, Marines are cheap. You'd rather get SCVs or not lose the Adept. But if you're able to kill off enough Marines earlier on, suddenly there are no Marines in the mineral line. Suddenly, this... The Oracle can get a lot of damage done, like he is right. Well, like he has the potential to right now. But look how scared this Oracle is playing. Only 2 workers go down. He's acting as if there is a hidden Widow Mine somewhere, but there isn't. I mean, so the Hellion actually run by doing more damage than the Oracle did, and that was one Hellion, just 1 Hellion getting 3 probes. So really nice move there from Clem, actually. So with the Oracle flying on in once again, I wouldn't mind just delaying that barracks, but no, he's being very careful with this orbital. Wants to make sure that he doesn't lose anything. And behind this we have a Phoenix on the way, but not a commitment to, well, more Phoenix on the way, but this is not Phoenix Colossus. This is Phoenix Charge Lot? I guess Showtime is of the opinion, and I mean, Clem is showing this. There are 3 barracks. We do not see a 3rd command center on the way yet, so we're going to see it around 6:30. Where Clem is going to go for an aggressive push, a powerful push, in the next minute and a half, once Stim and Combat Shields is done. And, okay, so the Zealot build that we've seen players like Estrella and Hellraiser really love is really powerful against that idea. That being said, though, why not go one step further? Why not get Phoenix on top of your charge lots to defend the aggressive Terran player? Lift up all the tanks, make sure you take even less damage, and go to town. But now here's the push of CLEM. The bunker has been salvaged, which means now it's time for CLEM to move across the map. And I got it. I think SHOWTIME's in a wonderful position to defend this. He will have Archons. He will have oodles and oodles of charge lots with +1 armor. He has Phoenix to lift up the tanks, to deal with the Raven, to deal with the Cyclone. And I don't really see a world where CLEM really oh yeah, CLEM, he's just got to back up. I don't see a world where he defends this, but also his third command center is only halfway done. Now this is a really nice tank positioning, actually. This is a really good move from CLEM. He says, look, okay, I see you're getting active on the map here. I see what you want to do, but the Phoenix are going to find the drop. So CLEM, he's going to be forced to drop this off, and he will lose the medevac. Yeah, he shouldn't really lose any Marines with this, but also no Phoenix should, well, actually no, he will, SHOWTIME will commit to these Marines to kill them all off. And none of the Phoenix will go down, of course, and now SHOWTIME has such a build order advantage in this game. His army is incredibly powerful, much more powerful than the Terran army, and SHOWTIME is a third base. He's got he's now fourth base on the way. Now he can get into Robo Bay. Now he can get into that Colossus style, get into those big power units that are so useful to the Protoss player. Now that being said, I don't see him breaking this third base. But not with the 3 tanks here, not with how hard it is to get up onto the high ground on this map. Really nice reveal though on the army of CLEM. But you know what? SHOWTIME, he's going for it. We have more and more Archons on the way, and you really only build Archons when you're going for an attack, when you're getting ready for some sort of aggressive option here, because you would much rather spend that gas on tech, on upgrades, on long-term units. Not Archons that, realistically, against the Terran player, they don't last all that long. I mean, they're good, but they're tanks more than anything else. Their damage soaks. But SHOWTIME is going to play a bit defensively for the moment. Interesting. I do like this, though. Drop coming on up into the main base. Meanwhile, SHOWTIME, he's just posturing on the middle of the map, doing what he can to make sure that that he's able to defend things. Now, that's a lot of damage that Warp Prism will take, and we're not going to see too many workers go down, but there we go. More Zealots on the way, and honestly, he should probably just drop this on into the natural. But, of course, the big deal that SHOWTIME has done here, even if he doesn't get innumerable damage, and he's actually starting to get a good amount of damage here. Look at those Widow Mines. He's going to drag the Widow Mines on top of the SCVs. There we go. 8, 9, 10 workers are probably going to be the total death toll here. But what this has done, it has bought time for SHOWTIME. It has bought time for him to get his tech on the map, to get his tier 2 tech on the map here. Now, the Phoenix don't want to go down, but we already have 2 Colossus on the map. Extend Thermal Lance is mostly done. We will have maybe 4 Colossi, or I guess the second 2 Colossi will be joining right as the battle is joined here. But this is a lot of charge, that's a lot of Colossus, and of course, all this is doing is forcing CLEM to siege early. Siege earlier than he would like, and that buys time for extended Thermal Lance, for those extra 2 Colossus. And yes, tanks are powerful, but attacking into 4 Colossus does not feel good. Oh, the Phoenix are going to get the Raven too. That's a really nice move. Now, the Widowmine shots are going to be superlative. And that is something you have to worry about here. Oh, so many of those Zealots are going to take the Widowmine shots, but now with all the lifts on top of the tanks, on top of the Cyclones, there's not a lot of tech here. There's not a lot of bulk. There's not a lot of power units left for the Terran army at this point. And yes, Bio is powerful. And oh, nice Widowmine. We'll knock off the Oracle. CLEM is going to be forced to kite and run instead of actually fight. And that takes so much DPS out of the army of CLEM here. He will be forced to back up. A tank has been left high and dry. Maybe he can snipe a... No, it's not gonna get a Colossus. No way. Alright, so now Dark Shrine on the way here. 2-2 done for the Protoss player. 2-2 halfway done for CLEM, as he's like, okay, my aggression didn't work. My aggression has not worked twice now. I gotta find some way to make this work, and I'm not convinced he's going to be able to do so, as now we do have the Colossi, we have the Stalkers, are going to find their way on into the third base. The fourth base is going to get killed, not even canceled, and now SHOWTIME, he's doing a really good job of cutting off the natural from the third base, which, yes, does that open him up first round? Sure it does, but on the flip side, it makes it so difficult for CLEM to circulate. It means that SHOWTIME can take the fight against the smaller army. He can take the fight against portions of CLEM's army before the entire army of CLEM is brought to bear. Now the Colossi are firing forward. The third base is under significant pressure. We will start to see more and more SCVs go down here. Archons are just going to try to get on top of them, and that means the SCVs maybe are just going to get pulled to deal with this defense. But no, the army of CLEM is a little bit slower. We have the SCVs from the natural. They're going to get pulled, but look at these force fields. Nothing is dying here. The Colossi are standing strong, and GG SHOWTIME is going to tie up this series. It's going to be 1-1, and now it's just a best of 3. What a game there from SHOWTIME. He went for the perfect build. The perfect build to stymie the aggression of the little corporal, and it works out for him perfect. CLEM doesn't even try. He says, look, if I go for this, it's not going to work. I'm going to try to pull back, but maybe I can get a drop. No, there's Phoenix there. I can't get that drop off. I'm going to pull back and do it again. Oh, crap, you got 4 Colossus. You have extended. Oh, that's not looking good for me. And that was just the story of that entire game. CLEM, he was trying to do something, and SHOWTIME did not let him do it. Monoxide will be our third map. It's a little bit smaller of a map, shorter rest distance between third and third, main and natural. And natural, all those things. So we're going to have to see exactly what the players decide to go for. Will this be heavy aggression? Will this be a more defensive play? I've seen a lot of long TVPs on this map over the last several weeks as players get more used to the map and figure out what builds work and what builds don't. So we may see something like that. I don't really know. What I do know is I am very excited to see what the result of this game is going to be. See who's going to put themselves on a match point in this series. Who's going to really put a ton of pressure on their opponent. Because, of course, winner gets $200. Loser only gets 100. But we have our third game of this best of 5 loaded on up. Let's get into things. Here we are, spawning in the upper right. In the red, representing Big Esports from Germany with love, he is SHOWTIME. And his opponent in the bottom right, in the blue, the young Frenchman from Team Liquid, he is CLEM. But this is the question we need to ask. This is what we're looking at here in this third game. In this really important game in this. Okay, every game is important in a series, but this one particularly so, because if we look at it, right, if we look at the context of this game, it's 1-1. Whoever wins this game puts themselves in the driver's seat in this series. They force their opponent to react to them for once. I mean, there are parts in this game where everyone's reacting. But they force their opponent to react to whatever pace they want to set, right? Because now their opponent's on the ropes. Now one more loss takes them out of the series. Now one more win from SHOWTIME or CLEM, whoever wins this game, will win the series. So, yes, whoever wins this game, are they going to win the series? Not necessarily. Absolutely not. But, well, putting yourself up on that match point is an important psychological advantage that you can make use of, that you can have for yourself over the course of a series, over the course of some number of games. And now we're going to have to see how these two players opt to go for it. Of course, we do see that looks like 1-1-1 opener that we are seeing from CLEM. Once again, it's not going to be any sort of add-on from the barracks on top of the factory, because of course we see how far away the factory is from the barracks, and more importantly, there are no add-ons for the barracks quite yet. Meanwhile, of course, this is the first game that CLEM has gone for a Reaper expand. So actually catching his opponent off guard a little and getting a free probe for that. This is what happens when metas evolve in series. And sometimes players cut corners because they see how things are going to go. That that shield battery could have maybe been a little bit faster. And if that shield battery is a little bit faster, well, the probe doesn't die. That being said, we will have an adept moving on into the main base. And the Marines, because they're in front of the bunker, actually do a really good job. But this adept may actually go down. Clem with a godlike micro. He's going to do what he can. The Marines are really overexposed, though, so that's something he has to worry about. We're going to see this adept complete. There's no way. The adept completes the shade, trading its life for a Reaper. Honestly, Clem is going to be so happy with that. That means his mineral line is not under threat. This is not a Stargate opener. It's a Robo opener. We're going to see defensive Blink most likely be the play here from Showtime. Oh, never mind. Dark Templar will be the play of the day. The method of madness for Showtime in this game number 3, as he wants to get some damage done early. Maybe he catches his opponent off guard. Hope Clem does not go for a Raven. Maybe he doesn't save up scans appropriately. But I mean, honestly, with these high level Protoss players, you see them do damage with the DTs, even if they really probably shouldn't, because there are 3 scans available and there's a Raven on the map, and they have missile turrets. So, now it will be difficult for Showtime to really get this Warp Prism into the main base. This is a Viking Cyclone opener, and that is designed to shut down Warp Prisms at any point, or the early point in the game. So we're going to have to see whether Showtime can find the opening he's looking for. I would not be surprised to see like a 3 DT warp in, where 1 DT is run on into the naturals, 2 more dropped into the main base, and that's going to force Clem to be a little bit more multitasking heavy as he tries to defend both sides. We're going to have to see exactly what happens with that, as now the Dark Shrine is done. Warp Prism on the way to the other side of the map. I don't believe Clem scouted that. I believe the Adept did a good enough job of zoning things out, but there are already missile turrets. There's already a missile I don't know what Clem scouted. I don't know what Clem scouted, but he is well aware of this possibility. There's a missile turret in the natural. We don't have a Raven, of course, but, you know, I mean, there are scans saved. There are 2 Cyclones. There are 2 Vikings. There is a Cyclone. And this missile turret is not getting on into the main base. Not really. They're actually just going to get targeted down. The DTs will survive. But this gets 0. This gets 0 done. This is actually disastrous here for Showtime. Unfortunately for him, he was hard countered. There was a missile turret in the natural. The Cyclone, the Vikings were in perfect position. Now Clem can be aggressive if he wants to. He can just take his 3rd base as he's doing right now. He can do both. But of course, he does not have a stim yet. He does not have combat shields yet. So any sort of push from him, it's not going to happen in the middle term. As I say that, never mind. We have Marines, we have tanks, we have Cyclones, we have Vikings. We just have everything under the kitchen sink coming in from Clem in this push. And we're going to have to see exactly how much he can get done with it. Now, Archons are scary. Don't get me wrong. In this DT, oh, it's just going to target down the SCVs that are, of course, here to repair, to maybe build some bunkers. But now the tank will siege up the 3rd base, and oh, it's going to be missile turrets. This is actually really cool, because that means that defensive DTs are not really going to be a thing nearly as much of anymore. It also means that no observers can get in. There can't be that extra vision that Showtime can make use of to make sure that he to determine whether he needs to go in, go out. But actually, Clem's just going to back up. Okay, he's going to cancel the missile turret. I'm not exactly sure what he saw. Maybe it was the Immortal that said, okay, wait a minute here. I don't really know that I have enough to do with. I don't want to throw these units away. Time for me to go back home. Go take my 3rd base, get stim, get combat shields, go from there, and that's what he's going to do. Alright, Stalker's in good position to defend from the Liberators. And we have the 3rd base here from Clem. It's going to get established at around 6:50, 7 minutes on into this game, which is kind of the timing you generally look for when you've gone for that 3 barracks +1 stim combat shield timing. But that's not what Clem went for. He just defended some DT. So of course, understandably, his timings are a little bit later than they normally would be. That being said, 3rd base is now done for Showtime. Extended Thermal Lance is on the way. We see 1 forge. This is not double forge. Showtime cannot afford that, not after the damage he implicitly took earlier on. Those Vikings looking for some probe damage, not going to get a whole lot. 2 workers go down, but I believe one of those was actually from earlier on. So not a ton of worker damage, but it's something. The important thing to note here is Showtime is only up 4 workers compared to his opponent. And he really has not had a big economic lead over the course of this game. Yes, there were times when he was up 300 resources, but this is not the big eco lead that you're kind of hoping to see in the early game before the Terran really gets their mules online. So this Liberator will siege on up. Is it going to siege up into... Can it? I was thinking it could siege up in a position where the Stalkers can't fight back. Granted, it wouldn't be in the mineral line, but could maybe do some damage to those Stalkers if Showtime is not paying attention. But anyway, the army of CLEM is now on the map, now trying to get a bit aggressive here. And I don't blame him. +1 is just about done. Combat shields are done. Stim is done. Concussive shells are done. There are 2 tanks. There are a bunch of Widow Mines here. And there's no way that Showtime is posturing a little bit for a 4th base based off the pylons and the probe that's there, but he's not going to get this 4th base up. So that's going to be the first victim. The question is, how much more damage does he take? This Doodad is a really good position to siege your tanks up on around. But actually, no, Clem is going to be a little bit... He's going to be moving even a little bit further. Now, the Disruptor Shot is something he does have to be careful of, but the Disruptor Shot has now been spent. It is only 2 Colossus. 1-1 is on the way, by the way. So this is, of course, this is... I misspoke earlier. This is Double Forge Protoss. So in a minute, Showtime will actually have an upgrade lead in about 20-25 seconds. We're going to have to see how much damage Clem can get done before then. Of course, 2 Colossus on the left, 1 Colossus on the right. It's going to be a little bit difficult to stim on in to the natural of Showtime there to get some sort of damage done. Now, a gateway goes down. That's something. But it's only production that can be rebuilt. It's not the army. Now, Showtime pulling the trigger. It is 1-1 versus 0-0. The Widow Mines are going to go off. The tanks are going to go down, though. This is just not enough army here for Clem. He does have his rally coming in, though. Nice splits from the army. We will have 1 Colossus get disabled. And now, actually, Clem, he has enough here. He's going to stim on in. The Immortal's going to go down. And yes, Charles will try to get on top of this. Clem, though, he will be forced to back up. It looked like he had enough for a moment. And he does have more army. He does have 13 more SCVs, and that is impactful. That is powerful. That is a massive economic advantage here, especially because he has been able to delay the 4th base of Showtime for a good bit of time. Meanwhile, Clem has the 4th base of his own. So with that being said, he didn't have to win with that push. He would have liked to. It would have been nice. Did not have to win with that push. Alright, now we have Clem getting active with 2 armies on the map, 1 on the left, 1 on the right, as he realizes that it's going to be really difficult to just one punch, to be a one-punch ban even, to strike through the center of the map, to knock out Showtime's natural, to not knock out his 3rd, just stim on into the army and go to town. Showtime has weathered the storm just a little. He has 77 workers. He has 2-2 on the way. Blink is on the way. Charge is powerful. He's getting back into Disruptor tech. All of these things do mean that Showtime is not really in a breakable position. That being said, he will siphon off some charge lot to kill him off a little there, but 3 Colossi. Oh, what really good targeting there from Clem with the Widow Mines. And look at this. That's what I was asking for. The Liberator positioning. It's not going to kill any workers, but it was able to kill off some Stalkers before dying, and that's useful when your Liberator only has like 5 HP. Of course, more and more chronos are being spent on 2-2 here. Showtime wants to be able to hit that 2-2 versus 1-1 timing, and he will be able to do so. Granted, I don't know if he's going to do that aggressively or defensively, but he will have access to that timing at the very least. Now, Clem is going to posture on the right-hand side once again. All of his army is there, but Widow Mine drops are going to come on in, but the Widow Mines are not off a cooldown yet, so not going to be all that useful. Looks like a Disruptor Shot went off rather nicely on the right-hand side here. How many Disruptors do we have on the map? We have 3 Disruptors. Of course, that one from earlier on, never getting targeted down. But look at this. A Fusion Core is on the way. Clem is advancing in through his tech. We will see ranged Liberators as the tech path of choice here to deal with these Disruptors, to deal with these Colossi in a way that the Vikings don't as well. Because, of course, well, Vikings are powerful and they can kill Colossus pretty well. Oh, man, they have a wonderful position here. There are no Blink Stalkers. Now there are. Okay, Blink Stalkers were under the army, but they're a little bit slow. They reacted a little bit not as quickly as they would have liked, and now one of the Colossus has taken hull damage, not just shield damage. Alright, we do have Showtime looking to take a fight here, but with the Disruptors, it's going to be difficult for Showtime to really, or for Clem to really do what he wants. And now we have Clem, he's going to micro back here, landing some nice EMPs on the army, but not what he's looking for yet. And actually, he's just going to kite his opponent away from things. I'm surprised he doesn't try to kill this base. He's aware of it. He could very easily just stim on it and kill it, but I guess he's worried about the army tracking him down, following him up. So he is going to just back up for the moment, at least wait for the rest of his rally to come on in, and really just look for that big, big surround. Alright, so now we have the rest of the army coming on here. In here, Vikings in a decent position. That disruptor shot's going to get a bunch of goats on the left-hand side. And yes, some of the Colossi are going down, but the Stalkers will blink on top of this. Although their aggro is being taken by a couple Marauders on the ground. So actually, the Colossi are slowly going down here, but I think there's enough on the ground after this for Showtime. He will be able to clean up. He will be able to survive. And all the goats you get are really going to be the most important thing. That being said, though, the rally here from Clem is fighting well. It is 2-2 versus 2-2. It's no longer an upgrade lead. But the charge lot flank from the left-hand side is going to do God's work here. Clem will be forced to back up. And the game goes on. 83 workers to 81. Roughly equal economies. Clem, he has his 5th base on the way as well. So, sure, he probably could have killed that 5th base of Showtime. But we do have some levels of economic parity. It's not the end of the world that he was not able to do so. That being said, +3 armor, just about done. +3 attack. Very close to completion as well. So there is this timing once again. Oh, Liberator will get targeted down. There's this timing where, yes, this is a majority gateway disruptor army, but those gateway units are actually going to trade somewhat decently against the bio, strictly because they have better upgrades. There we go. 3-3 is now done. It's 3-3 versus 2-2. This is the timing that Showtime is going to look to pounce on with this army, with all of his charge slots, with all of his Archons, with all of his Stalkers. His ground army is just very powerful. But Clem, look how patient he's being. He says, ah, yes, come into my nest, says the spider to the fly. Let me just surround you. Let me sandwich you on into things. That being said, though, I'm not exactly sure whose trap is getting sprung here, as now some of the army of Showtime is going to get siphoned away through these barracks placements, and that's going to be really nice for Clem here as he's able to fan out behind that, form that concave. But Showtime, he owns the position between the natural, the 3rd, and the 4th. He owns this position, so it's so difficult for Clem to shuffle his units to where they need to be as these charge lots are getting on top of things. DT is looking to maybe kill a barracks, but that's not exactly what they're looking to make their trade on. And it feels like Showtime's push is just ever so slowly stalling out. That's not going to say it will, but it feels like that's what's happening is disruptor shots are going to go off. Nice hot pickups there from Clem. He will stay alive, but we have the flank coming up from the right-hand side. Disruptor shots, that one will get army on the right-hand side, but it looks like Clem has just barely enough. He has a full 360-degree surround, but with Warpins, maybe he doesn't. The charge lots are doing all that they can, but the disruptors, they're not really able to fight yet. They are all on cooldown, so Clem will be able to force his opponent back in a masterful fight. Clem showing some wonderful resilience in this game. He now has a 30 army supply lead. He has 3-2, no +3 armor, which is something I think we saw him forget that in game 2 as well. So kind of the opposite of the patented Beyond armor first build. But man, really nice trades there from Clemens. He finds the disruptors all on their lonesome, gets 3 of them, and sure, he lost a couple units to the balls, but he's gonna be fine. Meanwhile, Liberator has found his way onto the left-hand side of the base, denying mining, killing some workers, but more importantly, it's denying mining. And if we look at that, we're actually seeing that probably pretty viscerally. Yeah, we are in the income tab. And more disruptors are on the way. This game is not really showing any signs of ending anytime soon. Oxide, when it gets to this split map scenario, is rather difficult for either player to end. You have a lot of chokes. There's a reason why this map is loved from mech in TVZ so much at the lower and middle levels. But one thing I do like from Showtime here, he is actually going and he is progressing in his upgrades. Of course, Protoss is the only race that can get 3 upgrades that affect all of their ground units. Because there are shields, there are armor, and hold that thought, we do have disruptors coming in. A big fight happening here. EMPs are going to blanket the entire Blink Stalker disruptor army, but no, everything's going to back up. Anyway, Protoss are, of course, the only race that has upgrades, 3 different upgrade sets that empower the same units. As now the Stalkers will blink forward, disruptor will get taken out. But of course, it's +2 air, so that does mean the Stalkers die in 2 shots instead of 3. Anyway, the point being is the army of Showtime can get very tanky here by getting the shield upgrades on top of the armor upgrades. So that affects both aspects of their HP pool at that point. Granted, EMPs don't care, EMPs are spells, but when fighting armies, it's a little bit more powerful. But now Showtime has put himself into a little bit of a base trade here, as he will lose his his fourth base. I believe that was the fourth base. But anyway, Stalkers are going to get on top of Clem's fourth base as well. And the question now is, when does Showtime recall? Because he should have access to that. And what damage does he think is acceptable versus how much damage he has done to his opponent? That's the question here. It looks like DTs have... Charge Let Run By has found the bottom right-hand side base, but Clem will be able to defend that. A couple orbitals will go down, so that's the second orbital that has died. And with all the Stalkers here, this planetary should go down as well. Nice disruptor shots. We'll get a lot of SCVs. But Clem, for the moment, is doing more damage. He has killed the natural. He has killed the fourth base. He's going to get the third now. And actually, we're going to hit a point where enough town halls are going down. Oh, nice disruptor, though. Are going down. We're going to start to see these players get supply blocked. Showtime's certainly in danger of that. He only is floating, well, for a moment, he was only floating about 158 total supply, so not a lot of room there for advancements. And now we have the recall here. The army of Clem will... Oh, he's going to get EMPs on top of everything. And with these splits are going to be mad decent, as now he's going to stem on in. Disruptor shot's not exactly available. And yeah, okay. He will be forced to back up here. Actually, he needs to pick up and leave, because the Blink Stalkers coming in from behind are going to be a problem. That being said, though, Clem, 20 army supply lead. He only lost two bases. Showtime lost a whole hell of a lot more than that. Now the Liberators will siege up on top of everything. We're going to see a lot of death, a lot of dying. But Clem will be able to defend. Now Showtime, though, he's found his way on into the natural, and we're base trade part 2. Now, with all the Liberators sieging up, the Stalkers will blink on top of that before they complete their siege, which means some of them will go down, but these are +2 Liberators, so even if you don't get all of them, they're still going to do a lot of damage here. Now, Clem is going to try to get his way up onto the high ground, but he can't, because there are just too many disruptors. So actually, it feels like Showtime has found an opening. That disruptor shot, my God! That disruptor shot, actually, Showtime, all of a sudden, he's in a wonderful position here. As if he can hit that last shot, he's going to be pretty happy. No, he just kills one of his own DTs in exchange, and the Liberators are going to start inching forward. Look at this pickup micro. Clem not really allowing the disruptors to really matter, as this army is just slowly picking away at the army of Showtime. That disruptor shot on the ramp did God's work, but there's just nothing here that can kill anything at this point. Yeah, disruptors do tons of work on their own, but it doesn't really matter, because you pick up and you drop, and you pick up and you drop, and there are no Stalkers. So many disruptors did go down. Now, we have a bunch of Charlottes on the right-hand side. A bunch of Charge Lot Warpins there. But Clem, he's up 20 army supply again. Clem is reestablishing his bases, as these last two disruptors will finally get taken out. And there are not even enough Stalkers here at this point to one-shot the Liberators. The Liberators are just taking the blood tax here. They're taking the blood toll. Showtime going in for maybe one last effort, because there's not a lot of bio on the ground, absolutely. But what it has there is powerful. 3-2 bio. Ghosts, Liberators are going to siege on top of everything. And as long as the production is not camped, Showtime should be fine. Stalkers are going to blink on top of things, skip by these Liberators, but it does not even matter, because they have nothing left. Clem is still mining. He still has 4 bases. He still has 5 bases. The army of Showtime in the dumps. All of the Stalkers go down. What do we have left? Nothing. GG Clem. He takes game number 3. What a game there from Showtime. What a game there from Clem. So there we go. Absolutely. That's the kind of games you're looking for in a series like this. And now, Clem's got a 2-1 lead. Game number 4 is what we're going to be going on into next once the replay loads. Of course, this is on a previous version of StarCraft. I think this was the patch that added BlizzCon portraits, which are so important to everything. But now game 4 will be on Romanticide. CLEM, of course, he has that 2-1 lead, so he's looking to just finish the series right here. But we're going to have to see exactly what Showtime can do to strike back. Because, again, Showtime, he's a championship player. He's very good. I would not be surprised to see him take this to game number 5. And I'm excited to see what his plan is to do that, as we got an incredible PVT in game number 3. Honestly, every game we've had in this series has been awesome. Has been a joy to watch, has been a joy to cover. But now, we have our 4th game. Load it on up. Let's get into it. Here we are, spawning in the bottom right, and the red is back against the wall in this ESL Open Cup number 56 Grand Finals. From Big Esports, Showtime! And his opponent in the upper left, in the blue, for Team Liquid, the Little Corporal, it's CLEM. So we're now on Romanticide. It's a bit bigger of a map. It is a bit more defensive. You gotta get 3 bases for 3. It's for free. It's not free 4 bases that you would get in Death Aura, but it's still a good defensive macro map, and we may see Showtime take advantage of that. May see him go and just, well, take his quick third, maybe go a defensive 2-gate blink, take the game into the mid game, take the game into the late game where he is so powerful, and try to kill off CLEM there, because a lot of Terrans are of the opinion that late game PVT is significantly Protoss favored with when you get to charge a lot, blink DT, and it's 4, 5, 8, it's 6, 7 bases, and they just don't feel like that they can hold their bases. It doesn't matter if you get a planetary, you just get 7, 8 blink DTs, and they just blink on top of the planetary dies. Doesn't matter whether they repair in time. And this is not a balance line. This is just why we often see Terran players going for these more aggressive options. They don't want to get into that stage of the game. Now, of course, CLEM, he's incredibly powerful in that he is a wizard of late game matchup or late games in any matchup. But we may see Showtime try to angle for that, just because it's where he feels his playstyle and his race is just more powerful. Of course, Showtime lost the most recent late game that was played, but regardless. We're going to ignore the mitigating evidence about my analysis. It's fine. Alright, so it's going to be a Stargate opener from Showtime here. Is he not going to be all that successful in delaying the command center, but it's fine. I don't think he didn't really lose much either. I think the Adepts will continue to move on and try to get something, do what they can. Maybe get on into the main base if they're lucky, but they should be able to. And yeah, this is Showtime. He's going for just looks like probably a Phoenix Colossus style in this game, game number 4. He did, of course, go for an Oracle opener. He did go for an interesting charge lot Archon Phoenix style that worked really well for him on Death Aura, actually. And, you know, this map plays a lot like Death Aura, so maybe we'll see something there. Of course, there's less dead airspace. We're also going to have to see what CLEM goes for, because one of the big reasons that was so successful for Showtime was because his opponent was going for that heavy aggressive style that Terrans can go for. And when when your opponent goes for that, well, if you get a lot of charge slots and you get a lot of just defensive units, you're going to be in a really powerful position. And that's what happened with Showtime. Now, first Phoenix will show on up, and this is actually a wonderful scout here from Showtime. He will see that this is a Widowmine drop. He will see that there are already 3 Widowmines on the map here, and there we go, repair. So Showtime will not be able to get that medevac, but this is already really nice. he was able to soak up a Widowmine shot, and his Phoenix did not die, which is always nice. So the Phoenix will probably die later on. But more importantly, he has a solid idea of how many Widowmines there are. He has a solid idea of the tech. He knows what the strategy CLEM is going for in this game, and that is going to make his life so much easier. So what do you do against a Widowmine drop? You take your third base. You know that the Terran is not going to have an avenue, especially when you see the third command center on the way. You know the Terran is not going to really have the tools they need to go and kill you, to go on into your third base. They might kill you by dropping Widowmines and killing you in that way, but they won't go across the map with 30 Marines and a couple tanks and +1 in stim and combat. They won't go for any of those aggressive options. At least at the timing we're taking your third base before 5 minutes is really going to be problematic. So more and more Phoenix on the way, but it's just Immortal production. So, well, never mind. I guess that's that first Immortal that's not quite done. The question now is, how many Phoenix does Showtime go up to? 5 is kind of the standard for Phoenix Colossus. And there are 5 here. We do see players like Stats, actually, so he's going to go up to at least 6. But there are players like Stats that really like going up to 8, 9, 10 Phoenix. And on the flip side, Showtime, there is no RoboBay. As I say that, RoboBay is on the way. But it looks like Showtime is going to go for the more Stats-esque version of this. And that makes a lot of sense. Showtime and Stats have a lot of positive comparisons. Both are just incredibly defensive, powerful Protoss players. Difficult to break, monsters in the late game. So the fact that Showtime is playing a build reminiscent of the way Stats does it should not be surprising to anyone, as now the Phoenix will find an opening here. A couple SCVs will go down, and that's going to be just about it. Okay, 3 workers. Just not nothing. He would have liked more, would have liked to maybe get some mules, but 3 SCVs. Of course, you also maintain a bunch of energy to defend a push, should it happen. Although I don't know that that is going to be the case here. And in the middle term, Stim is not done. CLEM, if he goes for a push, it's going to be with +1, with Stim, with combat shields most likely. So the Phoenix here, they're just sharking around. And there are a grand total of 7 of them. So not quite the Stats number, but close enough. And we're going to see double Colossus production behind this. So Showtime rapidly just getting into his power unit, saying to hell with the chaff. I want the wheat. I want my Colossi. I want my Phoenix. I don't really need anything on the ground because my opponent's being defensive. He took a rather quick third base, not the quickest possible, but not a 7-minute third. That telegraphs that bit of aggression. He has sacrificed. He has salvaged his bunker and not gone on the aggressive push immediately afterwards. I am totally fine. Once again, the Phoenix will find an opening, but they're not going to take advantage of it. Instead, just killing a couple Marines. I really think Showtime could have taken advantage of those positions he found himself in, maybe a little bit more. The army was not really in position, but Showtime is very reticent to make moves on into Terran bases with his sky units. We've noticed this in the Oracle game, where he was microing really heavily against a Widowmine that didn't exist. We saw it right there where he says, I could probably kill a couple workers, but I don't want to. I don't want to lose my Phoenix. It's more important that I keep my Phoenix alive than it is that I do damage on the other side of the map. And I can respect that. Of course, with no stalkers, your Phoenix are your stalkers. They fill the same role. So we have 2 Colossus on the map. 2 more just about done. Is that what just went down? I thought we saw a Terran unit go down, but no, we just saw 1 Phoenix go down. So now it's only 6. And CLEM is posturing on the map now. And this is actually really good timing for CLEM to move out, because this is just at the moment that Showtime is taking his 4th. So if there was a time where Showtime is maybe a little bit less committed to defending, or has a little bit less to defend, I guess is a better way to say that, now it's going to be the time. That's 400 minerals that have been spent on a building that is not a Colossus. It's not a charge lot. That's not production in some way. It's an investment in the future. But when you have an investment in the future, well, the investment in the present is not quite there. But look at this bank. Look at this arc that Showtime is setting up. We have more and more charge lots getting warped on in. And this tank positioning is really powerful. It's really scary, by the way. Of course, Showtime was not really able to get rid of the doodads in time, but now he's going on in from the left, from the right. The Phoenix are going to look to go on in, get the lift on the tanks in the back line, but look at the Widowmine shots. They're doing a really good job. That being said, though, the tanks, they are just not firing in this fight. The Colossi are, though. All the tanks have died. And sure, the one Viking's trying to do something, but it doesn't really matter. Showtime, he's going to make the hold. Granted, he lost all but one of his Phoenix. So that's unfortunate. But now Blink is just about done. We have Archons on the way. We have Disruptors on the way. Showtime moving on to that next level of his tech, and he's going to lose the last Phoenix right there. That's fine, but it's a scouting Phoenix. It tells him that Clem is on the left-hand side now, and it tells him where he needs to rotate around to make sure that he can affect the next stage of this ult. But, oh, it's just going to be drop on into the main base. If the Archons can get beneath that, they will not be able to, though. And are we going to see Clem just try to drop on top of this Colossus? Eh, probably not. Oh, that was pretty cool. We saw Showtime pick up one of his Colossus as well, on the off chance that he would have to defend the high ground. So Colossus in Warp Prism means that he can redeploy where necessary. But now we have Liberators are going to siege up on the natural and the third base, but Stalkers are here. They're getting warped in. Archons are here as well. These Liberators are not going to get anything done. And now we're seeing the brilliance of Demour. Now it's going to get a couple Stalkers, but now the Colossi are there to defend. Showtime has defended everything absolutely perfectly. And yeah, he's down some number of supply, and yeah, he's down an upgrade for the moment. That Widowmine's going to be annoying. But he has such a better army than his opponent, even if he is down in supply, even if he's down one upgrade. Because it is Disruptors, it is Colossus, it's Charge Lots, it's Immortals. If we look at army value, yeah, Clem has more minerals, but there's so much more gas put into this army for Showtime, and there will be more and more warp ends on the way. Now, these Vikings are scary, and that is something that Showtime does have to be careful of. Actually, a really nice pickup with the Colossi to make sure that they survive. Now, a recall coming off. Showtime may be worried that there was a drop coming on in. Not really sure, but now we have Clem. Says, okay, I see where part of your army is. I know there are more than 2 Colossus, but I see where your army is. I want to push on into this 4th base. I want to deny you the mining that you have been benefiting from for the last several minutes. But it's going to be difficult for Clem. As difficult as it is for Showtime to push into Clem, it will also be difficult for Clem to push into Showtime. Now the tanks are going to siege up, and that is a powerful siege tool. But look at this. Now we're going to see probably what 4. Oh yeah, there we go. 2. I can do math. 2 more Zealots are going to get warped on in here. Mass warp ins on into the main base. And as these Zealots die, we're going to see more and more get warped in. 6 workers have already gone down. And this is a wonderful little bit of distraction here from Showtime. And that buys him time to get a tank. There we go. Really nice move there with the Disruptors. Saying, hey, Clem, you are paying attention to home. You're not paying attention to your army for the moment. I can take some juicy trades. Disruptor shots are going to go off on top of the tanks. And now this is the time. The tanks have unsieged. This is the timing that Showtime was looking for. He's going to try to take the engagement once again. Now the army is going to stem backwards. It's going to run away. But the tanks are down. And 16 workers have died. Showtime has played this game wonderfully. And yeah, he's down on army supply, but that's only because he just has a crap ton of workers. 82 workers here. The 4th base coming under fire. As it looks like the Warp Prism will finally get taken down. But look at those Disruptors. 20 workers do go down. But Showtime understandably reticent. Actually, no, it looks like the Warp Prism stayed alive, just backed up for the moment. Showtime understandably reticent. He says, look, this is a hard position to attack into. It's kind of choky. I don't really want to push into that all that much. What I can do is I can deny your 5th base. That sounds like fun. Meanwhile, we have warp ends coming on into the right-hand side, and the 5th base will not only get denied, it will get killed. So that's going to take a little bit longer for that to get established. So there we go. We will see another command center get started up on the left-hand side here, but I'm not convinced it's going to be able to do a whole lot. Yeah, it's just going to get canceled, and we're going to see this planetary get targeted down. Nice CMPs on the army of Showtime here, but the Disruptors will be able to force things back. The 4th base of Clem is going to go down. Now Clem is only on 3 bases. This run-by will get denied with all the DTs, with all the charge slots, and as long as Showtime is able to get out with somewhat even trades, he's going to be in a wonderful position in this game. The Vikings are firing strong, but the Colossi are microing backwards. And yes, these Colossi should eventually go down, but the army of Clem, it has died as well. It has taken a lot of damage here. The drop is not getting a lot done here. 3 workers have gone down. That's about it. And yes, all the tech units from Showtime on the left-hand side did go down. That is a problem. We still do have Disruptors on the map, though, and we have wonderful positioning. Well, actually, I guess the Warp Prism came home. We have really good positioning from the Warp Prism. All of these things do mean that Showtime, he has the tools he needs to buy the time that he needs to build up his next army. To finally smash CLEM, because he's down in upgrades for a little bit. Well, okay, with shields coming up, he's going to be fine. Well, massive amounts of DTs are going to find this, I don't know, it's the main that floated over, but it's the fourth base? Yeah, I guess we'll call it the fourth base of CLEM, even if it is the main that has floated on over here as CLEM desperate for any sort of economy, and there we see Showtime. He has bought the time that he needs. Now at 190 supply to 152, he has been able to remax. He's been able to take advantage of that bank that he built, that superior economy that he's built over the course of the game, and now we just see him sniping ghosts. He says, okay, well, the ghosts are kind of the only thing that I'm worried about at this point, is now when the disruptor shots are going to go off, Marauders are going to go forward, trying to kill what they can, and actually get some fairly good jobs sniping down several disruptors, but in the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. The DTs are fighting so well here. Showtime, he's got a 20 supply lead, and it's just going, or 20 army supply lead, and it's just going to keep going up. It's just going to keep increasing as Showtime has an economy, and CLEM does not. Now, even the Vikings have landed because A, there are no disruptors in the sky, but B, because CLEM needs every fighting unit that he can get. This disruptor shot's going to go off. GG, we're going to game 5. What a game there from Showtime to take it all the way back. Really showing why he is called the Wall, why he's called Demauer, why he is known as the most defensive, the hardest to break Protoss, east or west of Korea. Playing an absolute masterful PVT in that game number 4 on Romanticide, and that means we have only one game left. Only one game left in this series. But, oh, man, if it's like the games we've had thus far, it makes me kind of sad. Because, man, give me more of these. Oh, man, they've been so good. But game number 5 will be on Pillars of Gold. As we get loaded on in once again, of course, we have to deal with going offline and going online, and it slows down things just a little. That's why you see maybe a brief black screen when we go from this screen on into the in-game screen, just because of how OBS handles with the programs getting started and stopped. It's a bit annoying, but what can you do? The Pillars of Gold. It's almost loaded up. It is the ultimate game of this series. It's the last game of the series, no matter which way you cut it. Players are tied up 2-2. Let's get on into it. Here we are, spawning in the upper right. In the red, taking a masterful game number 4. For Big Esports, he is Showtime. And his opponent in the bottom left, in the blue, representing Team Liquid, he is CLEM. We've seen many different builds over the course of this series, but they've all kind of had a similar idea. CLEM going for some sort of 2-base aggression that has a third behind it. Showtime going for something that allows him to be defensive, to take a quick third. And then, of course, we have that stylistic difference, where CLEM is trying to attack and Showtime is trying to defend. CLEM, for the most part, had looked really good attacking. For the most part, Showtime has really looked good defending. So, here we are. We're at 2-2. CLEM took a long game, he took a short game. Showtime took a long game. Showtime took a short game. Now we have to see what our player is going for. This is interesting, actually. Never mind. I'm looking at the wrong base, because apparently I don't understand that Showtime has been read every single game in the series. I'm like, that barracks positioning is really weird. It's not at the wall. Although the barracks is actually at the wall. But we do see a Reaper expand coming from CLEM in this game, and we're going to have to see whether we see a shield battery. I don't think we will, just based off that pylon positioning. It's you don't really get a shield battery that covers the mineral lines all that well, and oh, the probe getting really close to going down, but it will be able to escape as you expect. It just looked like with the double surround, it looked like maybe CLEM was going to be able to get a second double tap off and kill the probe off. Did not happen. And now this is Reaper into Marine into Reactor, just trying to be as safe as possible while getting those scouts, as the Reaper is doing a good job of delaying the Adept on the other side of the map. We talk a lot about, or, I'm sorry, the Reaper's not on the other side of the map yet. It was an SCV. Delaying the Nexus. But anyway, point still stands as a hypothetical perspective. Well, we talk a lot about making sure that you go and you delay the command center so the Adept can further delay it. And that's absolutely a thing. On the flip side, though, if the Reaper can play with the Adept long enough, can force the Adept to go in and out, backwards and forwards, so Showtime doesn't take any damage, well, that can also be enough a delay to keep the command center alive. That being said, it is only one Marine and one Reaper, and the Adept can absolutely fight this. So, I like this. Look at that. To make sure that he gets the shot on the Reaper first and foremost, the Adept will allow that shade to finish. But, here's the thing. Reapers regen. Marines don't. So, as long as, well, I should say Showtime. I'm surprised Showtime, we didn't see him targeting down the Marine before anything else. And more importantly, because of this Reaper here, because of the Marine, look at, oh man, what brilliant save. So, the grain bounced the Adepts back so the SCVs could escape. Pretty cool move there from the Frenchman. Anyway, now these Adepts will get targeted down. There's a Marine, there's a Hellion. Oh, never mind. They're not even bothering to kill that. They want to get across the map ASAP. But once again, this is a Phoenix opener from Demauer, as he's going to look to find himself into the mid-game. Once again, just be defensive. Get as many Phoenix as possible. Make it so he doesn't die to anything early. Maybe go into a Robo Bay after he gets charge started. And do that thing that has been so successful for him in his entire career, but more specifically in this series. So we got the kitchen sink push going for Clem here in this game number 5 that he tried and won with in game number 1. Wow. In the first game, I believe. In the Lightshade game. I mean, where you get 6 Marines and you got a couple, actually, no, never mind. I'm thinking of the Rainer Hero series. Anyway, Clem going for a more aggressive option here as he has built 6 Marines. He has built a couple Hellions. He's going to try to get some damage done. It's very reminiscent, of course, of a TVZ build, but again, it's TVP, so it's not. But the Phoenix here, actually having the Phoenix are like the absolute perfect tech choice to be able to defend this. It means the Hellions are going to get nothing done. It means, well, the medevac has to be careful, or it's just going to get targeted down. Actually, it does have to be very careful of that, but no, the Phoenix are just going to go after the, well, actually, okay, they will find the medevac now, but there's a Viking out here that will dissuade them. But now we're going to see a third base get started. Well, the Reaper is actually going to have something to say about that. And we will see that probe get denied for the moment. But there we go. Phoenix is here. Reaper will get killed off. And now third base on the way. 5 minutes. So not the fastest, but not terribly slow either. Robobay is on the way. And this is going to be Robobay before Twilight, which is not quite what we saw last game, but it's fine. This is Showtime showing us the different forks in the build that he has gone for based off of the game state. Does he think he needs Twilight? He needs Twilight before anything. Does he think he needs oodles and oodles of charge lots, or does he think he can get away with getting a Colossus? Now, I think in this game, maybe he would have preferred to go into charge, but I think realistically it's going to take a while for either charge or Colossus to get up. So, Showtime very well may lose this third base, but I don't think it goes any further than that. As the Phoenix, hey, they're going to find some nice lifts. I mean, actually, they're just going to get locked onto, but that means the lock-on's not all that used. And it's going to be an Adept Phoenix hold, which, considering the army that we see Clem going for here, I don't hate it, but that being said, the bunkers are now getting formed. And A, these are a force field, which will force the Adepts to maybe not take the best trades, but B, they will make it so the Adepts don't fight the Marines nearly as powerfully. And with this tank here as well, that's a bit of a problem. But look, the Phoenix, they're just going to clean this up easy peasy, lemon squeezy. The army of Clem is going to be forced to back up here. And yeah, some Phoenix went down. What did we saw, like 5 Phoenix go down? 4 Phoenix went down. Showtime is going to take that any day of the week. He has his third base up. He was able to knock off the army of Clem. +1, or excuse me, combat shields are on the way. Stim is halfway done. And with these, with the Vikings here, or excuse me, with the Phoenix here, it's so difficult for Clem to get on the map. It's so difficult for Clem to find damage in a game where he is incredibly far behind. Or not far behind, but his economy is far behind his opponents, right? Because he went for this push earlier on and it didn't work out. Now, CLEM, of course, he's going to try to cut some corners to get back into this. Notice that he is taking his command center on location instead of his main base and going over. It's less safe, but it does mean he's mining faster. It does mean he has mules on ground, mules on target, that much faster. Gives him that faster economy that will maybe allow him to come back from this. And I'm not saying the game is over by any stretch of the imagination, but CLEM went for a push. He went for a couple bunkers. Those bunkers got killed instead of salvaged, by the way. And that just means that he has lost a whole lot more than his opponent has. And his opponent has had more economy. So, with all that being said, CLEM is not happy, cannot be happy about the situation in this game, though. SHOWTIME, though. SHOWTIME's sitting pretty. He has his Robotech on the way. We see +1 attack on the way, because, of course, it's a Colossus-based army. Charges on the way as well. Extended Thermal Lance will be done by the time the next fight happens. And yeah, okay, are these Phoenix going to be able to get a whole lot done? Not really. They're Marines in the third base. There's a missile turret in the main. Maybe they're going to find an opening. Actually, they will find an opening. Really nice. The missile turret only defends half the mineral line, and we're just going to see a couple Marines go down. Alright, so Templar Archives. Oh, this Marine stem. Oh no, so many Phoenix are going to go down. CLEM, you got a target fire. The 1-2 will go down. Okay. Honestly, that could have been worse for SHOWTIME. But still, really nice move there from CLEM. And will we see him replace this? Will he go back up to that 5 Phoenix count? I'm not totally sure. I feel like the Phoenix may have served their job in this game already. They allowed him to be defensive. They allowed him to be safe. Take no damage from drops. And he didn't take damage from the push, so I think we just may slowly see the Phoenix get siphoned off here. That being said, SHOWTIME's got a 4th base on the way. He realizes what a good position he is in this game. And actually, look at this. He is adding on some Immortals. As he has, what is that? He has 3 Colossus, so you don't really want to add on any more Colossus. Maybe you go up to 4, but don't really want to add on that many more Colossus. So what he's going to go do is he's going to add some Immortals. He's going to add some oomph to deal with the Marauders, to deal with the tanks. And I really like this. Now, CLEM here is moving out on the map, and it looks like SHOWTIME will find CLEM before CLEM is totally sieged up. Now, the question is whether SHOWTIME can take advantage of that. That we're going to have lifts on top of all the tanks. Now, the Colossi are coming to bear. The Vikings are not firing on the power units. They're not firing on the Colossi. So everything is dying here. SHOWTIME taking a wonderful fight. Tanks are now dead. And with the warp ends, SHOWTIME will be able to fight this back. Even if for a brief moment it did look like CLEM had the army supply lead, the fight was so good there for SHOWTIME. Considering SHOWTIME has his 4th base on the way, he has been mining so much more over the course of the majority of this game. Archons are now going to get warped in because SHOWTIME is smelling blood in the water. He realizes that this is a wonderful timing for him to get something done. Granted, he only has +1. He does not have a 1-1, and that's maybe a bit of an upgrade disadvantage. But now the SCVs will get pulled here. This is CLEM realizing what a dire straits he is in this game, and he is absolutely just doing such a good job. Look at this Warp Prism Micro. He's picking up individual stalkers to keep them alive. My God, SHOWTIME, calm down. But that's going to be a GG. SHOWTIME, he's going to take it all the way back from a 2-1 deficit to a 3-2 victory. SHOWTIME, your victor in ESL Open Cup number 56.